Peronism changed and revolutionized Argentina dramatically and still affects it up to this day. To understand Peronism, we must travel back in time.
During the 1930s, Argentina experienced its Great Depression. At the time, the Argentine economy consisted of an export-oriented model and relied on the exports from Great Britain. This traditional laissez-faire capitalism had stunted industrialization and allowed Great Britain to dominate Argentina. The poor suffered especially hard during the Great Depression and had no voice in politics. The poor and the laborers suddenly had a new need for political involvement. In response, the dissatisfaction with the Depression allowed the rise of populist movements. One of these most impacting movements was Juan Perón's ideology and political party known as Peronism. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a special guest, Juan Perón, President of Argentina.
Hey guys, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay. Well, how are you doing, Mr. Perón?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
All right, good. All right, let's start with some basic questions. Can you talk about some of your early experiences in the military?
I joined the military college in 1911 when I was only 16 years old. I had a natural talent for the military and I rose up the ranks quickly. In the late 1930s, I was posted as a military attaché and served in Chile and then Italy. There, I found great respect and admiration for Mussolini and his fascist ideals.
Wow, incredible. How did you become involved in the politics?
Upon my return in Argentina, I achieved the rank of colonel and joined the United Officers Group. We successfully overthrew the incompetent Argentine government in 1943, and I became the minister tuned to the demands of the working class and improved the working conditions, and eventually acquired a mass of workers that supported me. In 1944, I was Minister of War and then Vice President. However, some military officers saw my power and concessions to labor as a threat and imprisoned me in 1945.
Well, how did you get out of the prison?
Fortunately for me, I had overwhelming support for the working class. Thousands of workers arrived at Buenos Aires to protest my release from prison. Such demonstrations were rare at the time, so I was released from prison on October 17th, 1945.
Interesting. What did you do after your release from prison?
I ran for office and became the president in 1946 with the help of my wife, Eva Duarte.
As the new president, Perón introduced a new ideology known as justicialism that promised a quest for social justice and national reconciliation within bounds set by the Constitution and the laws. He declared himself, quote, President of all Argentines, friends and foes alike, end quote.
He improved the lives of many workers with the establishment of medical care, paid holidays, and a minimum wage, and allowed them to have increased participation in politics. Perón also made the workers feel like they were worth something and treated them fairly. This boosted the workers' self-esteem and dignity and encouraged them to work harder. But Perón himself also received a lot of help from his wife in his successful regime. Perón's second wife, Eva Duarte, or just Evita, was very popular among the people and became an iconic figure throughout Argentina.
Evita was an ambitious first lady that toured the country delivering speeches for her followers known as the shirtless and personally meeting up with poor workers that sought out help. Her support for employment benefits, low-costing housing, hospital construction, and vacation retreats brought many life improvements to the Argentine majority. Furthermore, she organized the Peronist Women's Party that led to the pass of women's suffrage in 1947. This brought a mass of women supporters for Perón and strengthened his popularity. Evidently, she inspired much loyalty in the people for Perón and secured his position in the office. In addition to social justice, Perón called for political sovereignty and economic independence. He strengthened Argentina's economy by creating the Argentina Institute for Promotion of Exchange, or the AIPE. This was a monopoly that handled all commodity exports such as wheat and cattle. These exports were then sold at high prices overseas and brought much revenue to pay off the national debt and made Argentina a world power. He was also able to build and nationalize railroads and allow workers to use them free of charge. During the Second World War, the United States urged the Latin American countries to declare war on Germany. Argentina, however, decided to stay neutral in their stance. In addition, Argentina even made and exported many products to Axis powers like Italy and Germany, and clearly favored Axis power countries. Even after the war ended, Argentina gave refuge to many Nazis and were Nazi sympathizers. This caused much tension and rivalry among the two countries and created anti-American feelings in Argentina. After Perón's re-election in 1951, Evita began to become weaker, and eventually passed away due to uterine cancer on July 26, 1952.
In result, Perón began to lose popularity and was eventually exiled in 1955 by the military, but then returned to Argentina to become president again in 1973.
During Perón's time in exile, however, much tension occurred between the left-wing Peronists and the right-wing Peronists. Although Perón was able to somewhat moderate this situation during his return in office, the country turned into turmoil after his death from a heart attack in 1974. Proceeding with protocol, Perón's third wife, Isabel Perón, was now the new president. However, she failed miserably at running the country and gaining the support from the people. Ultimately, the military kicked her out and took over. Within the few decades around this time, the new military junta started a campaign to rid the radicalized left-wing Peronists. That included educated liberals, political dissidents, and socialists who posed as a threat. These men and women were abducted, tortured, and assassinated. Roughly around 30,000 people just seemed to disappear from Argentina overnight. Many mothers and grandmothers of the disappeared came to the Plaza de Mayo in Buenos Aires with pictures of their missing children to protest and demand for an explanation for their loss. The dirty wars finally ended when the international community cut economic aids to deter the secret killings in Argentina. Even after Perón's death, Peronism and his ideology still live on and influence Argentina even in the modern era. As the years did pass, Peronism did gradually split up into different branches, but it still dominates Argentina as the governing party. This is due to the fact that Peronism can be whatever you want it to be, and can accommodate to the people according to the era. Peronism is built on simple foundations that primarily include social justice, liberty, and sovereignty, and is flexible to be modified along those guidelines.